love it when people come have meetings and events here. We want to see more of it. But our team is dedicated to helping everyone grow and spreading the word of our mission. So again, thank you for being here on Monday night, and I'll be in the back to answer any questions you might have. Am I forgetting anything?
Good. And they opened up this, I don't know if you might have said it, but they opened this office space for the partners. Like they actually have office space here that they can use, which is really good.
This space and all of our spaces, we have a beautiful facility in Las Vegas, a beautiful facility in Toronto, and a beautiful facility in Puerto Rico. They are purely dedicated to our partners. I tell our partners that this is your office. We want to see you here as much as possible. It's a free rework space, a free co-working space. You can rent this meeting room for free anytime you need. So, truly is dedicated to helping our partners and allowing them to spread the mission of what we do. So, thanks again, everyone.
All right. Now I'm just going to introduce our panel for this evening and just say something briefly about each one of them, probably a little bit later, but and you just stand when I call your name. Ms. Kimmy Dunlin. She's the founder of WTLP, Transcription and Certified Coach in Adult and Children's Health. Mrs. Beverly Grandison, who's a certified wellness practitioner. She's going to be our speaker for this evening. Her husband, Johnny Grandison, retired engineer, and he retired earlier, so to do this full time. He's a metabolic health educator. Terrence Leverage.
Back here in the back, yeah.
Strategy and accountability coach. And so we call this our Floridian office. So Kimmy lives here and Terrence lives here as well. So this is our panel for the evening. So Johnny is my brother from another mother. We have been on a coaching, health, and wellness journey for about 14 to 16 years now. He is one of our fierce leaders. He's an Omega. He's proud of that. And so let's hear from Johnny. All right.
Well, I want to say, first of all, good evening. Thank you all for coming, because it's going to be a great opportunity for you all to hear some things that you probably already knew, but some things you probably didn't know. The sad part, you don't want to tell. And so what we've learned, me and my wife have been in the health space for over 20 plus years, and we've helped a lot of people. We got into that space because of our own medical conditions. We diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and all they did was say prednisone. Here's your prednisone, and so we're going to give you about some sulfasalazine. Well, that stuff sent me over the edge. I was like, I don't care what you had to do. You can come up with some other stuff, but I'm not taking that one again. And they gave me a whole list of side effects. So I was going to go through with this prednisone. When they got to the part about the mood swings, I'm like, I'm cool with that. But sure enough, as time moved on, taking it, they talked about having a moon face, and I looked at my head one day, and it was like a lemon head, like literally round, and my skin would be touched like that was tight. And they said, the mood swings, my mood swing wasn't me lashing out. My mood swings that was dreaming. I didn't know what to follow. So I started looking at that whole list of side effects again, and a whole different plan. I said, okay, we got to come off of that. And so it got us into the whole realm of nutrition. And so for 19, 20 years, we're dealing with a product that dealt with fruits and vegetables, because foundationally, that's what everybody needed. But then all of a sudden, we were introduced to this concept where we were having good results before, and now we start having dramatic results. In a very short period of time. I mean, for me, when my friend told me, said, she was another engineer too. She was like $250,000 a year, and when she put her resignation papers in, I was like, okay, I don't know what she's really doing, but we at least need to take a look at what she was doing, right? And so for me, in a very short period of time, I lost like 6 inches off my waist, 30 pounds. I was diagnosed with Crohn's, like I said, had the best bowel movements I had in a couple of decades. I was off the CPAP machine, and we were just seeing stuff over and over again, where if it was just one person, I'd be fine. When I met the first person who lost 100 pounds, I said, that's pretty good. No medications, no drugs, no injections, none of that, surgeries, whatever. But then if I left the other end of the room, I met a second, a third, and a fourth person, all lost 100 pounds. So even though I was proud of my other 30 pounds, it showed me that this was working. And that's what we need to know before we make the transition over to where we are now. That it worked and that it was helping people. And financially, I'm only 55, I was only 54 when I was able to retire because of this business, but it made that type of impact. And so I'm glad you all are here just as we see some stuff, hear some stuff, and see how you can actually help your own self, your own family, with those in your community as well. So, definitely.
So Johnny, what would you say was the most thing that affected you the most as far as your story in the protocol?
But a protocol, the fact that we'd already been on a health journey for 20 plus years, and even with that, in a matter of just the first 30 days, I lost 2.5 inches. You know, I lost 10 pounds. And then in a very short period of time, even being on the regimen, I started seeing results. Then I started seeing on a bunch of people. That was the thing for me. It was working. And in our community, we need this more than most. And so I'm like, okay, if it's working for me in this short period of time, think of how many people I already knew that this would work for. So that's why we travel the country, helping whoever we can help.
And they travel the country. You know, well, they always say they can do that because they don't have any kids.
That's right.
You know, but they actually do travel the country and they have impacted a lot of lives as far as health and wellness way before this protocol. So I want to thank them for that. Yes. So Beverly is the better half of Johnny. No.
Other half.
And I met her as a soldier under the direction of my husband in Korea. Probably about, Michael was about 6, he's 35 now. So that's how long we've been in each other's lives. And we just stayed in each other's lives since then. She is my younger sister from another mister. And what I love most about her is her tenacity. She brings that with all that she does. So Beverly's going to share the science side of this great product. Thank you.
Thank you. What? I'm so excited right now. It's a lot of good things happening. That's what I can truly tell you. And as long as this goes right, this goes right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I am beyond grateful that you have taken some time out of your busy schedules to come and listen and learn. And what I pray is that through this journey of education, that you're going to walk away from here with some very practical, applicable skills, tools, and resources that you can use. So, Lynette, thank you. Thank you and the Florida team for making this a reality, because it takes teamwork to make the dream work. As you heard, Lynette and her husband has been in our life for a very long time and been super supporters the entire way through. Her husband would come to some of my change of commands. He was a super mentor to me through my career to help me be the successful person that I was. And then they just continue to love on us through and after the journey and continue to be that stalwart in our lives. And I don't take that lightly because the Bible says there's a friend that loveth better. What is it? Yes. So yeah, that one, right? So yeah, exactly. And that is exactly what they are. Like I love them sometimes more than I love their blood relatives. And so thank you all again. So I'm going to fly through this because I don't have a lot of time. Keep me on schedule because I have a lot in a very short period of time. But let me go back to this. What was your why for coming? I just want you to keep that in your head. Whatever that reason was, whether you got stronghold into here, and said, hey, I need you here. But maybe you came with curiosity, you just want to know more. Whatever that why is, I want you to keep that foremost, and then at the end, let me know, did we answer that? My tag, what I've trademarked, you deserve so much more. And there truly is so much more for you to gain out of this life. Everybody has been made on purpose, with purpose, and with intentionality, okay? And the older we get, that means you have now more wisdom to actually share with the younger generation so that we can be the example that we want others to follow. We know that there's a lot of crazy going on right now in the world. We understand that, but we cannot have that be the focus. The focus has to be the present, where there is peace. The past is depression. The future is anxiety. And so let's live in the now, okay? So I, as you heard in Beverly Grandis said, I am a professional counselor by trade, a certified worksite specialist, and a certified now, recently, wellness practitioner, which is a gold standard certification that encompasses a whole holistic approach to health, both in the corporate sector and then individually and groups. So I'm really excited about that one. And as a counselor, I am very, very biased. Understand this. Even counselors, therapists, your guide, whatever you want to call them, needs a counselor. And you cannot, okay, now it's not doing it. I just lost my clicker. I don't know. Just froze up. Okay, let's do it that way then. I don't know why it just froze up, but here's a few benefits of counseling, okay? You do need the person from outside your small circle to step you through this thing called life. And it can't be your auntie, your uncle, your cousin. And I know sometimes in a lot of the cultures, we frown on, counseling. Okay, look, let's debunk the myth. Counseling is a really great thing to do, and it really will help you to get through a lot of life challenges. Okay, so please keep that in mind. So if I were to ask you, what is insulin resistance? This is very interactive. Please let me know. What is insulin resistance? Anybody? Come on.
The body's inability to break down insulin.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so the body's inability to break down insulin, that is a correct answer. What does that mean? Sickness, diabetes,
High blood pressure,
Okay, so diabetes is one that we would think about.
obesity.
Okay, so let me ask you for my quiet people, right? And don't worry, no judgment here, okay? How many of you actually really know what insulin resistance is? Raise your hand. No judgment. Okay, and you might not. If you don't,
I was diagnosed, so that was the reason
okay,
for my not
And then-
losing weight and the hypertension.
good, okay. Because what I will tell you is that insulin resistance is not genetic. Now, let me ask this. How many of you believe that? Raise your hand. How many of you say, no, that's not true? How many of you say, I just don't know?
Don't know.
Okay, good. All right, very good, very good. Well, I am here to debunk once again that insulin resistance is not genetic. It's 100% lifestyle. And we're gonna show that to you through this talk, okay? 93% of us are dealing with metabolic unhealthiness. Okay, that was a shock to me because I'm plant-based. Y'all couldn't have told me that I was in the 7% of unhealthy people, okay? Any of my friends would tell you I am the healthiest in the bunch. Double nickels this year, feeling good, can hang with the best of the 30-something. My lion age is 39, I feel good about that, okay? So needless to say, to find out that I was not in that 7%, after what you heard Johnny say, 20 plus years of being in this health and wellness field, that was a mind blow for me, okay? And so you understand, now can anybody make it make sense to me why heart disease is still number one on the charts? Decades and decades later, are we truly trying to find a cure? Secondly, those drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, Moderna, all those drugs are killing it right now. They are making loads of money for generations to come as they damage people's organs. There's lawsuits out now. It's a lot of tumultuous stuff happening. We don't even know the extent of the damage later down the road. Not to mention type 2 diabetes. You remember what that used to be called? Adult onset? Children never got this stuff, guys. The doctors and nurses will tell you they never saw what's happening with children today happening. And we're bearing younger and younger and getting sicker and sicker. We need to take a pause. We also know that our food is not as nutritious as it used to be. I like vertical gardening. I grow my food, and many people in here have gardens. You better start taking control of your food source. And like I tell people in my neighborhood, don't come knocking on my door for anything unless you have something in your hand to barter. Okay? Because it ain't time for me to be Mother Teresa because I'm not going to be. Okay? I'll take the kids in, but I'm not playing. We got to start being ready because there's a lot of things going on in this environment now that has us very, very polarized and very on edge. But it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Okay? The leading cause of death remains number one in all of the top countries. Okay, so we are dying as a world. So did you all know that insulin resistance is tied to all of this? That is what was shocking to me. That was not ever the conversation. As Johnny would say, you have a pill for everything. You have a pill for this, for Alzheimer's, dementia now. You have a pill for fatty liver. You have a pill for cholesterol, blood pressure. You have a pill. Come on. That is polypharmacy at its highest. We can't continue this while we're getting sicker and sicker as a nation. So I hope this plays, because now I'm going to, you're going to hear, because I like how they break down what insulin resistance actually is, okay? And if it plays right, then we're going to be golden right about right now. Let's see.
Insulin is an important hormone produced by the pancreas. Its role in regulating blood sugar is crucial in helping us maintain overall good health. When we eat, our bodies break down the carbohydrates in our food into glucose, and insulin is released into the bloodstream. It travels to our cells to regulate how much glucose our bodies use for energy and how much energy to store in the form of fat for later use. When we go longer periods of time without eating carbohydrate-rich foods, the pancreas stops secreting insulin and releases the hormone glucagon instead. Glucagon signals to the body to tap into fat for energy. When we eat too often and eat too many high carbohydrate foods, our blood sugar rises and the body has to produce more insulin to keep up. If insulin and blood sugar levels remain chronically high, this leads to insulin resistance. Over time, cells become more and more resistant to the effects of insulin. The pancreas has to work harder and harder to keep up, and this can lead to eventual inability of the pancreas to make insulin for the body. Understanding and managing insulin resistance is crucial for overall well-being, as it's a significant concern that can potentially lead to conditions like prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. Recognizing this, products like Unicity Balance aim to address these health risks by supporting your body's glucose regulation. Don't wait until these issues arise. You can take proactive steps now toward a healthier future. Visit our blog at youfeelgreat.com to learn more.
All right, so you're going to learn more about that as we go through this. And this is just one of the resources and tools that I use in my practice and a lot of our peers use to help others really take control of their health. Okay. So I just love this because I love colors, and I'm your simple chick, okay? I like to break it down even one step further. Okay, if you didn't get the video, then maybe you get the visual. This is what insulin resistance is. You see that? Insulin helps sugar get into your cells for energy, so we need energy. We have calories, you don't have energy, you know what your body needs to metabolize, right? And then insulin resistance is when the cells stop listening to insulin. So everybody understands that now, right? Everybody's clear leaving way understand what insulin is, okay? Now, here's our story. You heard part of Johnny's story already, and this is the reason why I'm here really, because of him. Over 20 years in the field, like I said, Brown was not ashamed. Okay, so CPAP machines aren't sexy. We can't do this. This is just wrecking the life in our marriage. This is ain't cool. Okay, so when I first jumped into this whole health and wellness field, which I would not be standing here today because the military was Plan ABC. I loved what I did. I had a very successful career. I was going for my stars. Make no mistake about that. And God is infinite wisdom. When he closes one door, he opens up another bigger door. And it's amazing when he does that. Just trust the journey, trust the process. So needless to say, after my Afghanistan tour, chronic fatigue setting, I couldn't shake it, back and forth to doctors running tests. They couldn't tell me what was wrong for 2 years. When finally my body had enough, half my face goes numb, half my taste senses disappear. I can't lift anything with my right hand. So now they said, oh my gosh, something's really wrong. She's not making this up. She's not baking. Yeah, no, I'm not. So they run further tests. They rule out a whole bunch of different diseases, and they land on multiple sclerosis, MS. Completely life-altering, career ending. I had no idea what that was back in 2005. I will tell you today, we stand here, both medicine-free from any autoimmune disease drugs, because we took food as medicine. That's what got us into this whole pendulum. You heard before, that was foundational. Now what we're doing is functional on a whole nother level to help people really take control of their health. I never, thank God, never had to get on the drugs, because again, I was very deliberate and intentional. I'll tell you all, you have to be deliberate and intentional with your health, okay? we have things that's gonna help you, but you have to help yourself along the way too. So if you don't know that sugar, carbohydrates, and processed foods are damaging our bodies, then I don't know what planet you're living on, okay? That's just a give me. You heard our story, so what was the really pushover for me were the skin tags. I thought they were hereditary. My grandmother had them. My brother has already had them removed. Every time I go get threaded, they pop them off. I'm cool, I'm good, I know I'm gonna be okay. Insulin resistance. So I was the biggest skeptic when I got on the product. I was like, I'm too healthy for this anyway, so it's not gonna work. And of course, fiber is your friend, you will learn. And it did not do well with my stomach, so I had to cut it down to half to step it in to actually correct my very dysfunctional microbiome that I had no idea was messed up. Another shocker. Then I was smart to take pictures. Take your measurements, take pictures, because you're gonna see your own transformation. And what happened 6 weeks later when we took that picture, I was like, shut up, this is crazy. But then my mother-in-law, then another partner, and another partner across the world having all of these similar outcomes. And we're like, wow, insulin resistance. So if you don't know sugar is the enemy, it's white, it's a powder, it's addictive, it's a legalized drug. And we continue to keep consuming it. And that is the culprit of what is aggravating all these signs and symptoms. Okay, so the brain fog, the constantly hungry, the belly fat, you can't see your feet, the skin tags, the low energy, all of that stuff is not the rite of passage of aging. Okay, that is part of metabolic dysfunction. So how many of you know your A1C numbers? How many? Everybody? Good? Most? Very good. I'm very glad to hear that. You should know those numbers. And if you don't, please get your lab work and look at the numbers. Now I want you all to take your camera out. So I do want you to take a picture of this slide coming up. This slide, I need you to order these lab tests. I need you to know these numbers, okay? Get your lab work and compare your lab work from each time you take it. Don't rely on the doctors to tell you what those numbers are. I had a very, very serious situation with one of my clients years ago where she had I did not tell her to get off of her medication. We do not tell you to just get off your medication cold turkey, okay? But she decided she wanted to jump ship and get off her medication completely. So but made also the lifestyle change, started exercising, started drinking more water, she started eating more fiber. So it was she did the right stuff. So she goes in to get her next set of labs drawn, and the doctor says, hey, we need to put you on a double dose. So she calls me frantic, like about to cuss me out, mad, like, I thought this was working. I'm like, wait, calm down, how do you feel? I've never felt better. I said, wait, this was a Friday. I said, Monday we need to call a three-way together. We need to call back because something ain't clicking to me. So we call back, and guess what? The nurse who answers is like, I don't know what you're looking at. All your numbers have decreased. Now, believe in the doctor and no shade on them, okay? Because their oath is supposed to be to do no harm. But she would have been a double dose of medication had she not. Question. So you are your best doctor. Y'all get in the driver's seat of your health. You hire and you fire, okay? They are in business because of us, but you have to take control. So insulin resistance, autoimmune disease. You just heard it from us. MS, he had Crohn's, another autoimmune disease, okay? Gut dysbiosis is huge. Your gut is your second brain, okay? Leaky gut, it will impair your T cells, your fighter cells, okay? Then how insulin resistance causes hypertension. And I'm not gonna go through all of this, but look at this. Sodium retention, blood vessel constriction, chronic inflammation, impaired nitric oxide production. All of that stuff is happening in your body because of insulin resistance. PCOS, how many problems, and ladies, your kids and grandkids are not having infertility issues. Johnny and I say we're dinks, dual income, no kids. I cannot tell, I do believe now, looking back, that probably was insulin resistance. If I looked at my lifestyle and how I was eating and what I was doing to my body, and stress will absolutely kill, believe that, okay? So all of this is happening. These cysts, weight gain, hair problems that we now know, insulin resistance, alopecia, all this stuff. Oh my goodness, guys, this was, like I said, and don't, hey, men, you're not off the hook, okay, men, you're not off the hook, okay, because menopause does happen too, to the men. And you're talking about testosterone, lowered levels, you're talking about erectile dysfunction, all this stuff that impairs the blood flow. insulin resistance. I need you to tag that. You get out of here, I just want you verbally vomiting on people about insulin resistance. Did you know? Oh my goodness, what I learned. And then these GLP-1s that your body naturally has, y'all. Our body naturally has the hormones that will do that for you. But yet we want to do these semaglutides, this synthetic stuff that's literally damaging bodies. The side effects alone, one slide I'm going to put in here one day, because I did record the side effects off the commercials. And when you listen to them, if I started with depression, now I have suicidal ideation. What in the world? Come on. But I understand. Trust me when I say, when people get to a state of that desperation, they're ready to do anything. And that is where we insert us, okay? Because us is that answer or that prayer that people have been looking for, okay? So it's just about you getting out of your way and caring enough to share this message of health and hope to so many people, okay? And y'all, look, now that we know, we in the airport, we everywhere like, we know what you do. We know what he doing. Insulin resistance all over there. Oh, wow. So you can see the marked difference when people do this stuff. And now that you've seen this, you can't unsee it. Now you're gonna be like, wow, I didn't know. But this is what's happening. And they're not only damaging your organs, they're losing bone and tissue, which as we age, we don't need to do that, okay? So GLP-1 antagonists, really, like I said, long-term is bad stuff, okay? And the synthetic GLP-1s, 40% of that weight loss is from lean muscle and bone, okay? So real quick, I'm gonna go through this really fast, just real quick, so because I always want to leave with things you can do right now. Not tonight for this first one. I need you to drink more water. It's too late. You need to sleep. So, all right, don't drink too late. Cut off at a certain time, all right? But you need to drink more water. Water is my magical, mystical drug. If your urine is not clear, almost clear in the morning, you're not drinking enough water. Okay, dialysis essentials are popping up on every corner for a reason. Number 2, how many of you sleep in 7 to 8 hours every night? At least without getting up without the alarm clock. How many people get up without the alarm clock? All right, come on, we gotta do that. Okay, we gotta do that, all right? All right, how many, real food does not come in a package, it's colorful, okay? It does not come in a package. Deep breathing, it works, okay? It's so therapeutic. You can bring your blood pressure down. You're running into the doctor's office and they take that blood pressure and they gonna wanna say your blood pressure is high, that's a lie. It's not high. I tell them, I say, oh, we're gonna take that again, let me do some deep breathing. Let me zing myself down. And I have zinged myself down 10 plus points, really. So 2 types of breathing real quick. You got the Ayurvedic breathing, which is the 4-7-8. You breathe in for 4, hold for 7, release for 8, controlled. And then, of course, my military, so box breathing, 4-4-4-4. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, hold for 4. It really does work. And y'all can just put yourself to sleep. Your brain racing, focus on the breath. It works, okay? Move it or you're gonna lose it. And the older we get, it's non-negotiable. Doctors will tell you that those patients who exercise the most absolutely are healthier. You're gonna have stronger bones, stronger muscles. You're gonna run faster, jump higher. Okay, we in some circles of some 7-year-olds. Y'all know Miss Donna. We in some circles with some 7-year-olds that can outdo some of us. Nailani, oh my gosh. They can outstretch us and all stuff like, golly. All right, so really quick, you're gonna hear more about this natural solution that we bring to the table. Okay, what we bring to the table is the Feel Great system. It boosts your natural GLP-1 itself. It helps to boost that so that your body can burn the fat. And like I said, when we start getting into all the scientific words of the chlorogenic acid and the fluorelic acid, you're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, that's the good stuff for your body. That's going to help that process along. Okay, and it enhances the production, curbs the craving. The Unimate, okay, increases your GLP levels by about 50%. And what it is called the Feel Great system. 2 products, 1 practice that's given us measurable results. And I did mention the practice is fasting, okay? Fasting is your friend. I didn't know it was so medicinal. Fasting, we used to fast for churches, your Daniel fast, this fast, or whatever fast. So go back to your church, okay, this year, and let them go a deeper dive into fasting. So that the body can understand the real purpose of it. It is to heal, prevent, reverse disease, and it does that. It truly does that. When you fast, look at all the stuff it's gonna do. Lower inflammation, okay? Improve cognitive function, increase energy to the mitochondria, protects your nervous system just by fasting. So if you just did that, the only problem is most people have a problem fasting because you're gonna get hungry and you don't want a snack. Fiber is your friend. That's the other one of the two problems. The mate imbalance is the fiber is the balance. The same fiber that was on Rexall drugstore back in the early 1990s. It's the same fiber that's here, okay? And it helps you to slow that sugar into your body. But you can't get fiber from any other place than fruits, vegetables, berries, and grains. So you gotta get fiber is your friend. Understand that fiber is your friend, okay? It's gonna help to reduce that inflammation also. Again, the Feel Great system. 2 products, 1 practice that's giving you measurable results. One of the products, Unimate. It's a yerba mate tea from Argentina. Okay, they actually carry it by pounds into the Olympic team. It actually carries it by the pounds in South America because they know how medicinal it is. They actually call it the drink of the gods. And it gives your body all the vitamins and minerals that it needs so your body's not starving. And it's going to quiet the hunger pain. So I was never a faster. As a matter of fact, I was taught to eat less more often. The Elmo diet, which is so good and wrong, because you keep your insulin levels spiked high all day. So your body can't come down and heal, rest, relax, repair. And so this has totally quiet my hunger noise. And that's been amazing because I didn't know I could fast like that. And then of course the balance, the fiber. This is not poop fiber, guys. This is fiber that literally coats the gut. It has probiotics and all that good stuff in there so that your body, so your gut can actually repair itself and then not have to have all of the contaminants for the bad food that you eat to stay there and get into your bloodstream. Okay, so it's literally like a cast. That's what one of my partners called it, and I really like that analogy. Put a cast around your stomach so it protects that lining so that you can heal. So it is backed by science because I'm a big science person. Okay, I'm all about science. Cleveland Clinic, one of the renowns in the whole country, in the world, studies it. And what are they saying? Look at this. Such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Y'all, that's huge. I mean, think about that. Why aren't the doctors prescribing this? It's in the physician desk reference, okay? It's in the physician desk reference. So it's actually HSA, FSA qualified. People can use their cards to purchase this. Doctors can look it up and see the efficacy of what this is about. This is real. Real people having real results. You're going to hear about that soon. It's simple if you stay consistent. It works. It's working for too many people around the world. Seriously, point blank. We sip on our tea during the day. Okay, you drink your water too, but sip on your tea during the day to quiet the hunger if you're getting hungry pains. Then at lunch, or dinner, you're gonna drink your balance, your fiber. Okay, you can drink it before, cold, shake it up, or drink it during. And then you sip on your tea for the afternoon. No snacking. End by 8 o'clock. Then we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress. Okay, and then you don't eat till 12 o'clock the next morning. No snacking through the day, and then you eat dinner, and the day starts over again. Guys, we've saved money. I mean, it's been crazy. It's a simple approach, okay? The Feel Great system is backed by 90-day guarantee. If you use the app, at least 50%. They have a really great app that has recipes and all kind of fun stuff on there, okay? I'm gonna get back to you, right? Because I'm almost at the end right now, so I'm gonna get right back to you. So, it's designed to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And the Feel Great is simple. And guess what? No dietary restrictions. You're going to want to change what you eat, right, eventually, but that's not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the how, okay? The how you eat. And that's with the fasting and that time-based eating, okay? So you're going to hear really quick from others and their results. We've got testimonies from all around the world. We get testimonies literally every day. I'm not making this up. Every day we get another testimony of what's happening. Here's some of the results. These are people that we know and we have met in person physically. We're watching their journey. Tisha, that's one of my good friends. She did that in less than a year, actually. Her joke is nobody told her she was fat. She needs some new friends. Okay. Caesar, safe for pregnant women, safe for children. And this is why it matters, guys. This is why it matters. Take this seriously. Because you all know someone, if not yourself, dealing with these issues. And disease is not hereditary. We cannot continue telling our children and grandchildren that because mama, big mama, and mama nanny had it, that's our fate. That is not, that's a lie from the pit of hell. So please stop propagating that message. The message of hope is that you can get in the driver's seat of your health, take control by absolutely adding some very simple protocols and tips and tools that we suggest that will have you have a happier, healthier life. Last slide, insulin resistance, we talked about that. Visceral fat, not cool. Skin tags, acne, it's in the physician desk reference. It is a patent, both products are patented. Clinical studies are legit. You can look those up. Safe and natural, so all natural products, no contaminants, nothing like that. And then it's guaranteed 100%, 90-day money back guarantee, cost neutral, and it's in over now 60 countries and growing. It's a very exciting time, I will tell you that. But 2 products, 1 practice. Last slide, and I love this slide. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Don't begin with a thought. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, it becomes your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So I thank you again for this opportunity. Hopefully you got something out of it that you're going to use and make sure that you are going to share the message of health and hope to so many people who are hurting out there.
I think I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned, I guess you're using your product, and you won't eat until the next day at 12 noon?
Correct.
Why is that?
Because you want to fast over the 12 hours to put your body in autophagy and do up 16 hours. You want you to get to 16.
So you don't eat at night after 8?
Correct.
Can I have ice cream?
And if you do, okay, so the days that you want to, this is what I tell people, because again, we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress. You better drink that balance, okay? Drink that balance. And the balance is the fiber.
So you want to coat your stomach with the fiber, and that's what people do all the time. One of the partners said she loved watermelon. So before she eats her watermelon in the evening, she drinks her balance. And the balance is designed to turn into a gel. Okay, I say it's like a sticky, like a hand sanitizer, and you drink it, and then the carbs absorb slowly through your bloodstream so that you don't get a spike. Now, if the same person eats the same thing that you ate, and they did not drink the fiber, they're going to spike up, whereas yours is going to stay down, and that's what you want. So, and just like you said, it's not. I always say I'm going on a diet. A diet is what you eat. If your diet could be potato chips and fried chicken, whatever, somebody else's diet could be whatever. So we want to look at it as a lifestyle, right? So like Bev said, it's no restrictions. But once you start eating a certain way, and I guess family, friends, you can test this. The people who know me, you kind of change different things, and then they'll be like, my brother will say, they're eating, what you call it? Rabbit food or something like that. Rabbit food, stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what the fiber is for. And what's happening is they're taking the fiber out of our foods, and they do that for look purposes. It doesn't look good. So the white rice has no nutritional value at all. It tastes good, but that's why they suggest brown rice, because that's how rice is grown, and so you don't get that fiber. But thank you, Beverly. And like I said, she's very intentional. When I say that, I've known Beverly when she was in the military. She was G.I. Jane, right? Better than G.I. Jane. And when she had to transition over because of her diagnosis, and I said, I can't remember the question I asked her, but her answer was, and she said, well, why not me? And that was years ago, and I always remember that. So she never questioned, well, I don't know what she does on Facebook, but what I gathered from her, she didn't too much, get into this whole thing. I got MS and what I'm going to do, woe is me. She said, why not me? And she kept it moving, and that's how she is. And I thank her because when I get into a rut, sometimes I think about Beverly. I don't tell her this, but but she just goes forward. So now, moving on, we have Terrence. This is Terrence over here. I actually just met Terrence,
Oh, wow. I thought
this
that was
weekend.
your
And Terrence is one of our partners here in South Florida who kindly volunteered to share his story with no hesitation. What I have gathered from him is that he loves to interact with people and offers a warm smile. So Terrence, your story.
Thank you, Lynette. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Come on, it's a little quiet in here. How y'all doing, everybody? Okay, so my name is Terrence Leftridge, and I just want you to remember these three numbers for the time I have up here. And I want you to say these numbers after me. 2, 2, 1. Come on. 2, 2, 1.
2, 2, 1.
That's the number that I received from my doctor in September of 2024. He told me, Terrence, you are now 221 pounds. 221 pounds, 5 foot 3 inches. On the scale that we hear every time we go to the doctor, that's called morbid obesity. In my head, the scale said, oh, hell no. Many times in life, you have to have a defining moment to lead to an unstoppable decision. September was my defining moment that I was not going to see that scale go past the, what's that number?
2, 2, 1.
It wasn't going to go any higher than that. So I said to the universe, I need to do something different. Now, you might be anything like me. When you say to the universe that you want to do something, the universe gives you a way to have it happen. Yes? Anybody like that?
Yep.
Okay. The universe brought me Johnny and Beverly. I was working with them on some other projects, and I saw Johnny maybe months before then and hadn't seen him in a while. And we actually met here in this office. And I walked right by Johnny because I didn't know what Johnny had looked like, because this was the new and improved Johnny. I had to do a double take. He said, hey, Terrence, what happened? And I looked at Johnny, and then you know the first thing we say when someone looks different or they lost weight, what's going wrong with Johnny? Exactly. He's sick. And Johnny said, ain't nothing going wrong with me. I'm losing weight and I'm feeling great. Let me tell you a little bit about it. And he told me about the Feelgreatsytem system. And, I was reluctant, didn't know anything about it, did some research about it, and I decided to try it in November of 2024. Now, who knows what the number one thing happens in November? Anybody? Thanksgiving. I tried it on the most eating holiday of the year. And in my mind, I recognized later on in life that subconsciously I probably tried it that time because if nothing happened, then I could say it didn't work. When in reality, I didn't do the work. So I played with it. And then December came. And what happens in December? Christmas. More eating. Yeah. And I was still taking it, but I was still doing what I was doing. And then New Year's Eve came, and I was still eating. I was like, oh my God. But, I was starting to feel things a little different. Had my first doctor's appointment after I started it in January. And what was the number I told y'all?
2, 2, 1.
Had gone down to 216. Only thing I changed was I added the protocol. Fast forward 13 months later, I've been with the program. And I wasn't serious about the program all through those 13 points. I'm going to come back to that. But 13 months later, what's that number I told y'all?
2, 2, 1.
221 is now, the last time I got on the scale a week ago, it was 197. Now, y'all ain't got to clap. I'm going to clap. I'm glad about it. I haven't seen 197 since before high school. Okay? I have been fighting this fight for all my life, and many times I had given up. I was like, this is just how I was going to be. Everybody in my family's big, I'm going to be big. So, but then that defining moment said that I can't be this way. My doctor not only told me about 221, he told me about diabetes. And he told me to go get one of those, go to the dollar store and get one of those pill things. Because you're gonna be taking this pill, you're gonna be taking this pill, you're gonna be taking this pill, you're gonna be taking so many pills that you need to keep that stuff separated. And I remember my grandmother used to have 20 different pill bottles on her cabinet. I was like, that's not gonna be me. So also in that same time of the 2 to 1, going down to 197, I've gone down from 5 medications to 3. And counting, because my goal is to be off of medication altogether. Now you might be saying, why am I keep saying 2 to 1? Yeah, it was my weight, but it's also the system. See, 2 sachets, 2 meals, and 1 protocol has helped me go from here to here. And if it can work for me, then I tell everybody that it can work for you. All you have to do is follow those numbers. What's those numbers again?
2, 2, 1.
If you don't get anything from tonight, just learn how simple it is. 2 sachets, 2 meals, 1 commitment to intermittent fasting, and you too can feel great and lose weight like I've been doing. Thank you.
All right. Remember that. You're gonna have your numbers in your head too. I just want to state that this is not a weight loss program. It is a feel great program. All right, so when you hear those numbers, then you're thinking health. That means that somebody's numbers have gone down where they probably need to be. So don't look at it as, because God has created our bodies, that the cells, the brain, all that talk to each other. So they're going to tell each other if you need to lose weight, if you need to stay where you are, or if you need to gain weight. So, because some people say, I don't need to lose any weight. But the nutrients in this yerba mate, and I'm just talking about teas in general, they're plants. Plants have medicinal purposes, right? A lot of plants. We're just talking about just this particular one. So understand that, all right? So look at it as, nope, I just want to be healthy. Most of us in here are in our latter years. Why not live healthier? I'm not talking, I'm not in that category.
Third quarter.
I missed that. All right, so Johnny is our business guru. As I stated with his introduction earlier, he is a retired engineer, therefore a real numbers man. Everything is about numbers with Johnny. So he's gonna share some light on the aspect of this particular business.
All right, let's see here.
And let me say this, I'm gonna this one before I say about plants, and I have to say this because my sister that I grew up with next door is a pharmacist, and her daughter has an online tea business, right? And she started it because what her diagnosis was, and she decided, I want to do this, I want to be on medication, and that's when I first really got into plants. And this is my neighbor, one of my mothers that raised me, and I'm talking about her granddaughter. So when I say plants are medicinal, I mean, Derry has come up with all different types of combination, you know, and so with that, she was able to stay off of medication for her, what her diagnosis was.
All right. So we do this. So Beverly got a chance to tell you a lot of things that are taking place, and Lynette came back and re-emphasized a little bit. But how many of you all know somebody with high blood pressure? Raise your hand. How about high cholesterol? How about somebody who wants to lose weight? How about even skin tags? You notice almost everybody raised their hand each time, right? So we all know someone that has one or more of those things on the screen. And this is only a small. Yeah, that's only a blur in the wind, right? Yeah, and that's only a very small. That's only a very small listening, right? And so the reason that's important is because when we talk about why this matters. It matters because we're trying to save people's lives, whether it be our own or someone else's. Okay? And so when she talked about the fact that you have the lip and how it's working in our bodies, most of us just didn't understand that part of it. I bet we talk about eating less more often. That's what we're talking. Talk about keeping metabolism high. Not realizing every time you put a morsel of food in your mouth, you drove that insulin up and you have those spikes. Okay? And so what we're trying to do is keep it into the range. So this is the graph of what Lynette and Beverly just talked about. Instead of having all these spikes all the time, we're trying to keep it into this range. Okay? Now, why is that important? Just like many of us didn't know that, think about how many people, our peers, didn't know that either. And when we walk around, when we sit in church, when we sit in our office, when we sit in our family gatherings, every time we go somewhere, we see people who probably don't know that either. And so when we talk about my brother's keeper, this is what it's about. We all get the same kit. That's how it's going to come. And so when we talk about in our society where we are today, the commercialization of it is driving people towards the medications. It's driving people towards injections, things that aren't necessarily sustainable in our lifestyle. Who wants to give themselves a shot of it? Who wants to take a pill? They want the results, but they don't want to go through that process. Okay? So why is it important? Who wants to do surgery? Okay? All the time. Because when you do those surgeries, it comes with some other side effects. Because I just got through talking to a young lady. She says, not only do I have to have surgeries, I got to take, I think it was 5 medications. She can only eat the small tidbits of food, whatever. So when she's in these big gatherings, she doesn't feel comfortable in her skin, whatever, because she either can't participate in anything or she wants to stay back because everybody's like, well, you need. So the life that it puts us in, the situation it puts us in, is not something we want to sustain. It's not the lifestyle that we just want to live. And so what we talk about is every time we help someone in our business, right? All we're doing is sharing. If you went and saw a great movie, it's like, man, that movie's the bomb. Or, hey, yeah, it's 75% off. We share all the time. Okay? What we're doing is saying, you know what, every time I sell one of these Feelgreat kits, we see that we're changing people's lives. No matter which one of those conditions you saw in that circle, we're talking about the high blood pressure, cholesterol, the diabetes, the weight loss, the skin tags, the brain fog, the eczema, doesn't matter. We're helping change somebody's lives every time we do that. Now,
You gotta keep touching it, so it's gonna make you keep going faster.
I want to go fast on the point across.
We don't have all night,
Listen to your wife.
okay?
Anyway, so when we look at every time we share loans, right? As a franchise owner, we get between $20 and $25 for every sale. Now, how many people remember when you went down and got your cell phone? You pretty much signed up one time. AT&T, Verizon, TV, it don't matter. You signed up one time. How often you pay your bill? Every month, right? And if you forget, they send that little reminder in the mail. It's almost like, when we cut your service back on, it's going to help you not forget again, right? So every order, every other order, reorder, you get $25 as a partner. So imagine you sharing it with your friend, sharing it with your spouse. Like, I know you're dealing with something because we talked about it, and I've been watching you for the last 5, 10, 15, 25 years of your life, and I know you're dealing with it. But this product has a way of helping that. And so they say, sure, I'll take whatever. Oh, this is great. But when you saw that, you're going to get that $20, $25, right? Let's say $25. Well, the person you told it to has friends also that they know. You may know, you may not. But when they show the customer, the company says, you know what, as a referral, we're going to give them a $10 credit just because they share. That way it makes their product cheaper. They can stack it up, do anything they want to. So when Bob shared it with Sue, Bob got a $10 credit because Sue ordered. Well, Sue was like, this is great. I lost weight, I'm looking better, I'm slimming down, my clothes feeling better. So she goes and tells Joe and Jill. So Sue's going to get $10 credits for each of them, just because she shared it. Well, as the frontline partner, you are the first upline person in the business. So you get $25 off of what you get from Bob, you get $25 from what you got from Sue, and you get $25 you get from Joe and Jill. Because you're in business for their customers. So it's a win-win situation all the way down. Now, we have another way for which we have compensated, right? Because Bob, who is your first line person, is gonna be like, you know what? You're getting $25. I don't have to be the smartest cookie in the bunch, but I know $25 cash is a little bit better than $10 credit. So why is that what you're doing? So we help Bob go get $25 every time he shares it. And Sue like, hey, don't leave me out. So now Sue is sharing it, and instead of getting the $10 credits, she's getting $20 cash. That's your second line. And the same thing with John Jill, who's on your third. So we're giving between $5 and $10 every time as the franchise. Every time our new partner comes on, they share it, they're getting $25 cash, and we're getting $5 to $10. Okay? So that's what that's representing. And just like we said, when a person joins, it's $15.49. That is an investment in your business. Many of us who have businesses before, we know we spend way more in investment costs for that upfront cost and the next year cost and refer. One time, you got a forever franchise. And your $1,549 is actually going towards 10 boxes. It's going towards the product. And as part of our system, we're even going to help you sell to some of your friends to put that money back into your pocket. So you almost got a franchise for free. And you probably want to keep one for yourself, but other than that, you're getting that. So it's almost like you're buying 10 boxes of Feelgreat kit, for the price of 9. And because you just put the money back in your pocket, you have a business from here on out. And now you have the ability to help people share it. And for some people who are like Apple Pay or whatever, it's way being funny. You can do Apple, Affirm, you can do Klarna, you can do MyPay, some people use a credit card. And once you get it, you use the money you just got from your friend, you put it back in your pocket. So now you just did that.
You can use your HSA, FSA.
You can use your HSA and FSA to pay for it, even coming into the business. That's what if you want to get a new product. And the company is amazing. You see the space that we have here. Matt talked about how we invest into our company and our partners. They provide the link, they fulfill the order, so they're going to ship it. You're not going to stock anything. They have a back office, so we literally pick up the call, the phone, and call. The customers can call direct. The customer deals with all that. The company deals with all that. Customer service is amazing. I said amazing. It's like 7 days a week customer service. Okay. And then our team. So you can approve the system. We actually have trainers. We actually have a system for which we're going to help you do each facet of the business. Whether we're talking about how you set up your office, whether we're talking about how you invite somebody, we're talking about we have systems for all of that. We have product business monitors, we have weekly trainings, we have calls tonight. We got calls almost every night of the week. So even if you can't be on the call, you can invite someone to the call, because what we do, we get people to the information, or we get the information to people. And it gives them the ability to say what's right for them and their family, to say yes. Okay? So you don't have to be a guru of what we do. Private training academies, social book, and we even train those on social media accounts like, you know what? Not only do we have business here in South Florida and across all of Florida and across all the United States, we're in those 60 countries. We have a team right now growing in Kenya to the point they're like, look, you need to come up here. So when we go to California in April, we're gonna turn right back around, hit Virginia, and go straight to Kenya. And then from Kenya, we'll go to Ghana. Right now. So as we expand to the Caribbean, as we expand in the Philippines, as we expand in our companies, they're standing right behind us to support us in each of those ways. Now, just like we helped you get rid of 10 boxes, we help you get customers. So think about it. You're getting $25 on each of those customers, right? So when you get 10 customers, isn't that $25? $250? And just like you have to pay your phone bill every month, that's $250 every month, right? So that $250 you pay for your product, about $60 cash in your pocket. Now you're in the black already. There's companies today who start up who don't hit the black for months and months and years. And then all we do is teach 5 people to do what you just did. So now you're making $500 a month. And as we teach 5 of those people to do it, now you're $2,500 a month. Or $2,000 a month. And at that point is when we actually do the reward trips. This company, they booked out an entire Royal Caribbean cruise ship just for us. Down in the Bahamas, whatever. When we came in, we went to Thailand, Vietnam. We're about to go back to Thailand and other places, go to the Dominican Republic. They pay for those trips. Yeah, other trips like they send us down to West Palm Beach. And then now we're talking about teaching 5 more people, and you're over 6 figures a year. So that's how we were able to, walk on the job. It's not what you do by yourself. Because remember, you only got the first 5. So that's pretty much in a nutshell of what we do. That was the last slide, by the way. So all we're doing is sharing the information. The number one question we ask as we came over here, did it work? We answered that question with our personal situation, but we also answered every time someone said yes, and we got a chance for them to tell us, you tell us what's going on with you. How do you feel today? What's your numbers like? Where your new labs are? We love getting the feedback from the testimonies. Now we have testimonies from people we didn't even know before. And so we are helping people. We're in the business of helping people. And as we change their lives, as we save their lives, it's making a total difference in our lives. So our lives will never be the same. So with that, the questions you have before I turn it back over to Nick.
Young people still use paper pen. So I'm gonna just kind of tell my story. My mother struggled with high blood pressure from her 30s up until she pretty much left here. Her mother was diabetic. And actually, before my mother, she ended up going on dialysis. And before she went on dialysis, I talked to this herbalist and she said, hey, give her this, give her that. It's all natural. I said, okay. She had it shut in her arm. I said, Mom, I said to her, you gotta drink this, do this, this, that. Well, her creatine levels went back to normal with that natural juice and whatever else. And she did not have to go on dialysis then. And when she came to visit me before that, she couldn't walk from that door to right here without being out of breath. And I was like, dang. So anyway, when I sent her that, I don't know what she did as far as her medicine after that, but we ended up going over to the Bahamas with my nieces and my son and his friend, and Mama was walking good. Eventually it kind of plateaued, and if I had known what I knew now, things could have been different for her. But that gave her time, God gave her time to be ready, because she wasn't ready then. She wasn't ready. So she was okay then. And I say that because who wants to put something synthetic in their bodies if you don't have to? And I said, that was not going to be my story. When I certified as a health coach, that's when I realized that those things were not hereditary. It's what we're consuming in our bodies or what we're not consuming in our bodies. Because it can go either way. But it was not going to be my story. But I wasn't looking like that though. So I certified, I'm saying I'm helping people lose, but I wasn't losing anything. This is around 2020. And I'd gone to the doctor, and the doctor said I needed to see a nutritionist. I was 193, 94, 96 pounds. My blood pressure had elevated. I don't even know what it was, but she put me on that machine. That's what she on. So I went to the nutritionist. The nutritionist says, hey, I want you to try intermittent fasting. I said, well, I don't know much about that. And as a matter of fact, I was pretty ignorant to it. And I said, but I'll try it because I'm a health coach and somebody might need that. So I went to the nutritionist for about 3 months. Now, I'm one of those, you guys show me. And I didn't know what questions to ask her. So I tried getting up in the morning, drinking my water, eating at 12. I still did some snacks, eating my dinner late. Nothing happened. So I stopped going. I didn't even have a conversation with the nutritionist or anything. So I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. So fast forward, I gained more weight, more in the stomach area. And that's about the worst place that you can have. That's called visceral fat. That's underneath the skin, and it stores around all of our major organs. And that's when we're looking at stroke, heart attack, other diseases. And so I said, okay, I don't want that. So, my sister from another miss is very, very forward. And she gonna let you know how she feel at all times. You can't be wearing your heart all here. So I went to visit them because I was in Virginia. And she said, girl, what's going on with your stomach? I said, tell me. And that's when they introduced me to the Feelgreat system. And I said, okay, what do I have to lose? At that point, I'm thinking, am I gonna have to go on medication? Because now I know the side effects of Ozempic, Wegovy. You can get gastroparesis, lose your gallbladder. You can gain weight, you can lose weight, but you're gonna gain it right back again, you know? And vision loss. Then I realized two people that I knew. One lady lost her vision and her daughter had gastroparesis and she left out of here at 35 years old. And so I began my journey in 2024. I went from 202 pounds to 186 pounds in a month. My blood pressure, I see you, Bill. My blood pressure dropped from 135, 140 or so over 90 to 117 over 77. And I've been able to maintain that blood pressure since then. I've continued to lose weight. My thing is belly fat. That's where most of my weight comes in. And I've got to get probably about 8 more pounds off of it. But the main thing is we just know what we need to do to be healthy. And we know synthetics is not the way we want to go. Now I'm going to introduce my partner here, Kimmy. She's going to close us out. She is from Fort Lauderdale, and I introduced her earlier. And we met through this business, both on TikTok and in person. We've been working real good together in about the last year or so.
I can tell you my story and tell you why I decided to choose the Feelgreat system. There's a lot of stuff out there, and I've tried a lot of things. I've tried Herbalife, I've tried Weight Watchers, I've tried many things. And plus, my story is myself, but I'm gonna tell you about my father. And I determined that I was not going to be a statistic like my father. My father was an avid tennis player, went to school on a scholarship with FAMU for tennis. He loved tennis. In his latter years, at 87 years old, fast forward, Daddy lost his sight suddenly by watching TV, blind. Then he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which I didn't know anything about. Daddy ended up going into, he had peripheral arterial disease, where his veins in his legs were literally breaking down, okay? Went into the nursing home, got a diagnosis. One leg had to be amputated. The second leg was amputated. That was one of the most horrific times of my life, because not only did I pray and ask God to help Daddy to keep his legs, because that's what I do, but he did. And I determined from that time that I would not die like my father did. I would not be type 2 diabetic. I would not lose my legs. I would not have peripheral arterial disease. I was diagnosed with thyroid condition, goiter. Insulin resistance, I found out later. I had 2 goiters on my neck the size of softballs, the doctor said. And that, not knowing then, before the Feelgreat system, that I was insulin resistant. Also had acne, which is another form of insulin resistance. Didn't know, had over 60 spots all over my face, which came from stress, okay, which stress is a killer. And I came through that after a protocol, not knowing anything about the Feelgreat system, but I had these symptoms. Weight would fluctuate up and down, had to end up having a complete hysterectomy, which was from, now people diagnosed with that, with the fibroids, sign of insulin resistance, all of these that I experienced before I found the Feelgreat system. I'd always been healthy because my mother's motto was, I refuse to be old and fat. So I grew up with my mother's 93 now, who's had a stroke, 2 strokes, one was a major. Mom's still here though, but I decided I'm not gonna have it. Whole food supplements I've always used, fruits, vegetables, berries, omega. Feelgreat system was a no-brainer for me. When I saw it was introduced by Beverly and Johnny, who I've known, I said, okay, this is it, I'm gonna try it. No doubt about it, especially with my background of being a medical language specialist. I transcribe medical reports. All my life, that's what I've done for over 4 decades. I typed about disease and sickness. So this was another level to tell people that there is another way other than medications. And there is. The Feelgreat system works. It's as simple as that. It works. So my mission now, and my address today, is the world. We're gonna tell the world that there's a better way. You do not have to be on medications. The Word of God also tells us in Genesis, the first chapter, verses 27 through 31, God gave us the blueprint. He told us to eat greens, okay? And to eat fruit with seeds inside. Everything now is GMO, fiber's been stripped. We are sick. We're the sickest in the world, being 93%. We got to go back to the blueprint that was already there. The Feelgreat system takes us right back to that blueprint. So I encourage everyone, try it. 90-day money back guarantee. Who gives you your money back? The doctor doesn't give you when he gives you that script, does he tell you to come back if it doesn't work? Next thing he wants to do is give you another script because your blood pressure is still high. So if you're consistent and if you want to try something that works and that's a nutraceutical with the evidence behind it, there's no way you can lose with what you use. Now I am aging backwards. I am keeping my weight off. I've lost weight, keeping it off, losing inches. I'm Route 66. I'm 66 years old, and I feel great. So I'm going to tell the world about the Feelgreat system. If you haven't started, if you know somebody, let's make the world healthy. It's Kimmy Hood, not Robin Hood. We're taking back the health. We're taking back the health, and we are going to have people all over this world live again so that they can experience their grandchildren. They can experience not being on a CPAP machine. They can experience not being tagged up to an oxygen machine. Today is the day to not struggle anymore with bad health.
Thank you.
So this is our presentation. I think Matt's gonna kick us out here in a few minutes.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So I want to thank my family and my friends for coming out and listening to this presentation. It means a lot to me because that's what I love doing is inspiring healthy living in my family and my friends and others. Just remember, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, do it to the glory of God. That's in Corinthians. So we have some tea back there for you all to taste. For you get little cups. I want y'all to at least taste it, and some baked wings and some fried.
You can take it to go. Yep.
And there you go. Matt, getting on.
I wanted to introduce my husband over there. He did come. But he's a testimony too, because even though he could be skeptical, but he of course follows me because he's on the Feelgreat system too. And his blood levels, like your blood levels are gonna tell the story. His did tell the story because his A1C came down from 11.7 to 9. It came down 4. No, it came down lower than that to about 7. So he's a work in progress, but he is doing great. He's losing inches, he's losing weight, he's feeling energy, and I'm happy that he's here. Come on, a couple of medications. Still going, but he's there.